Welcome to Boxcars, War Machine and Horde's supplementary podcast for War Room PL YouTube channel.
You can find us online at www.warroom.pl. You will also find our blog there. Visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/warroompl for great video battle reports. You can also like our Facebook page for latest War Machine news under facebook.com/warroompl. If you have a small meta and want to develop as a player, or just try out different lists in international environment, you can play online on Vassal. It's free, but you can support developers by donating. Welcome everybody to episode 31 of Boxcars. I'm Marcin and I'm playing minions.
And I'm Rafal and I'm back and I'm still playing Cryx.
Cool. Tomasz is not yet here, but he will join us later, hopefully.
Later.
Yeah,
yes, he's the main reason that we are doing this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Today.
Yes. And we'll be talking about Masters in Krakow. But
yeah, because it was the first Polish LCQ.
Yeah, IG
qualifier. IG qualifier.
Uh-huh.
So, and I uploaded some games on War Room.
Hey, cool.
Have you seen them?
No, not yet. But I'm actually I can say something about that soon. But I'm out of material to watch during my workout, so I'm very happy that you uploaded something new. Because I watch a lot of War Machine if I don't play or can play. So anyway, one news, we have just registered today the tournament Masters in Szczecin, my home city, so War Room PL home city, and we've got like 18 registrations day one. We have right now 32 spots, but probably we could increase it to more, depending on how many people would like to come. So yeah, that's our news. I will be providing some more news on our Facebook, so follow that. Yeah, and yeah, I think we can just start talking about Krakow.
We are not chit-chatting about state of the lowly state of War Machine right now because of all the CID and the immunities change and Nemo, Hope nerfs and everything else. No, let's do not do that.
No, I mean, I think
we are the positive podcast.
Yeah, if somebody listens to any podcast, then they probably listen to that like 5 times already. So why should we bore everybody doing this 6th time?
Yeah, let's bore with something else.
I can bore you with something. I have an anecdote to tell you. I rarely tell it, but I watch a lot of games, and I love that people are uploading the games. I'm actually writing an article about how to record the games and how to upload them, etc. So more people do it. So do it always. I mean, if you can, and if you have equipment and will, just do it because it's nice. But lately I had a game I couldn't finish watching. I'm sorry, but sometimes, I mean, I like to learn from mistakes people make, but it was so painful. The person did so many mistakes that I wanted to just pull my eyes out. I just wanted to go to the table and help him, and he was playing Maylog, and yeah. Well, I don't want to continue that topic.
Yeah, that was a really funny anecdote.
Yeah,
he was
I know.
trying to be funny, but he is not at all. So
I'm not a funny person, so.
No.
So if it didn't
doesn't
come
work
out,
that way.
If it didn't come out right, then
Funny
I'm sorry.
anecdote is
Did I say it was fun anecdote? I just said I have anecdote to tell you.
Okay, sorry, but for me, if anecdotes are funny. So my funny anecdote is that I wanted to buy Coke Zero, and I was driving with my friend Magnus from Sweden, and I told him, "Oh, look, there is a petrol station. I'm gonna to cross double straight line on the road, so nobody will see me." And I go and I buy Coke, and then I go back, and I didn't notice police, and they caught me and gave me 2 tickets because I passed the same 2 lines 2 times. Okay, and this is funny anecdote, Marcin. Yeah, I'm sounding like Chris Davis.
Didn't you scream, "This is Poland"?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. While doing this.
Magnus was laughing and angry because our pizza was getting colder and colder because we bought pizza and we're driving home. I mean, to hotel. But the event in Krakow, Marcin was not there, I was there, so the event was great. Good job, Jaro, on organizing. We would like to thank especially everybody from Poland that came, of course, and especially Magnus from Sweden that came to us, and Norwegian guys, and I will name everyone because they deserve it. Sverre, also Lasse, and I'm checking that further on, Mats and Geert. And if I spell correctly, 1, 2, Mats, Lasse, Sverre, and Christian, of course, Christian. So this was, I think, the first time that foreigners came to, or at least during our career with War Machine, that came to a Polish tournament, and I hope you liked it. It was cheap, and the food was cheap, the drink was cheaper, and they were laughing because they told me an anecdote, Marcin, that...
was it fun anecdote?
It was about drinking, so they are always funny, especially in Poland. That they bought half a liter of vodka or something like that, and 4 beers, and something more, and some peanuts or something, and they paid as much as 1 small beer in Norway. So, if you want to get nice company and cheap booze, then you can come to Poland. And you have an occasion to come to Szczecin.
Exactly. Szczecin is even cheaper, so...
Yes, Krakow is the most expensive country in Poland.
City.
So,
yeah.
City. Yeah. He thinks that he is a country. It's a country, but it's a city. Okay. We have a Tomasz. Yes.
Can I? Hi, Tomasz. And
he's not there. I'm switching him on.
Just so I will say in between on the anecdotes that I'm saying. I'm so unfunny that I can even tell you a very fun anecdote and nobody will laugh.
That is not funny.
So my skill is that I can try a lot and nobody will laugh. So
yeah. He can destroy any anecdote whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Tomasz? He's there.
Do we have show notes?
Yes, of course.
No. We always have a show notes, but you didn't receive them.
No. This time, it was not that I'm lazy, but we are doing a tournament report, so to say, and the show notes on tournament reports are always the same because we always talk about the games. So,
all right,
I didn't bother this time.
Because this time I'm on the show, so I'm a comic relief, and we are talking anecdotes right now. So you didn't miss much.
This time it will be funny.
All right.
So but to sum up my, so to say, a role on the cast, every cask needs a Trevor Christensen. So I'm proudly taking his role in being not funny.
Yeah, and I'm Josh.
Who's Trevor?
Oh, shut up! You don't know. You don't deserve to be here.
When you grow up, you will know Tomasz.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So he's not
the man. He's the man.
Chain attack host.
Right. Chuck Norris of War Machine.
No, Jay is Chuck Norris of War Machine. Trevor is.
Trevor is grumpy old man from Muppets. Two in one. So go figure.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do. I'm going first because I may have wife obligations later. That sounds funny. And so I will start with my games and then Tomasz will follow. Okay, Tomasz, are you okay? And
sure.
I spoiled already, so So you are more interesting stuff to tell. So yeah, sure. I played first games with the colleague of Tomasz, I think. Libra is from your Krakow, right?
Yeah. So we are actually online now. Like this is recording.
Yes.
This is recording, but we are not live because I did not manage to figure out how to set up the everything to go live, and I didn't have time to do tests, so we are recording
we are doing the freestyle episode.
Yeah, freestyle, but not live.
So, not live, but alive.
Yeah, next time we'll try to go live.
That would be amazing.
I was there was no introduction, no retribution of signal or something like this.
There was one.
Refugees of iOS. Refugees of iOS.
There was an introduction 10 minutes ago when we started with Rafal, but
sorry guys.
No problem. We were just telling jokes. So.
Anecdotes, man.
Sorry. I was telling anecdotes and Rafal was telling jokes. Or fun anecdotes, yeah.
Okay. So, come back to the subject. I played first game against Libra and he was playing Baldur 1 with the Voldrath. And I took the easy way. I took Scar. And there is not... what was my list? I placed my Scar list, standard Scar list. You can find it everywhere. I'm not going to tell much. And the second list, I have the Negra 1 list. That is Slaughter Fleet. And thank you, Tomasz Guan, the one and only, that sent me the models from USA. So I got some pre-releases earlier, and I could play with them. And I wanted to try a list, with the Slaughter Fleet. So I played the list with double Blood Gorgers, the ladies that gave magical weapons at either side, some Stalkers, some more Stalkers, and the Negra, and some Arknauts, and that was the list.
So Tomasz Guan is the hero of this first round, because he's also the architect of the Libra's list of Baldur's 1 list.
Okay. Didn't work against Scar, sadly. but Piotr was playing okay, but due to the Scar being Scar, it's not always it's difficult matchup for. I think I won the start, and it's difficult matchup for Orboros. So there is not much to tell except that I won on scenario. So I'm not going to. We spend a lot of time chit-chatting, so I will go to round 2. And on round 2, I wanted to unlock my second list. I'm looking for myself. I think I played with Hasher, but I'm not sure because I'm almost sure that I played with Hasher. Yes. So Hasher was playing. He was playing. What was he playing? He was playing Dreamer.
The Dreamer and Heretic.
And he was playing the Dreamer against. I played the Negra. And of course, maybe the Heretic would be better because he would put Wall of Fire. And I would have a problem. Rebuke, I don't care because I have this spell. Right. Sir, not Rebuke is not troubling me anymore.
Oh yeah, you told me during the tournament.
Yeah.
Where from the dispel is coming?
There is a lady that hits somebody in the ass and it removes dispel. And it doesn't have to kill, so it's really cool. So it's the same as any... Normally, you use a unit that is the attachment of the Blood Witches has this in this skill, but also the caster attachment in the two new. In the two team forces, Scourge of the Broken Coast, so Satix's team force, and the Slaughter Fleet, so the Living Pirates team force. This attachment has a dispel on the weapon. So you just keep 2 guys at the back of near the caster, and you move 6 inches and hit somebody in the back and dispel, and it's gone. So, but Wall of Fire would be cool anyway, but maybe not so good against Stalker. So, I think the Dreamer was pretty okay because he was hitting me much easier and was also hitting Stalkers quite easily. And I saw that he had 3 Skinner Monks, or 2 Skinner Monks and 4 Cage Rangers, I think. Yeah. So there was a lot of heavy stuff, and I had 5 Stalkers and a little bit of infantry. But the infantry seems to be too weak to damage the Grimkin Beast with some Corpse Tokens. because I have only power 11, 13 with the hit, but hit is only for 1 turn. I couldn't debuff anything because it's Grimkin, so they will just...
Arcane Vortex.
Me, yes. So I was not counting. But I wanted to unlock, and I thought, okay, I can try with Hasher. But it seems that it was not the best decision tactically. And honestly, I won with him because I played more, so I know better how to win on scenario. And this is how, because in the normal attrition way, I would lose. I knew it after round 2. So it was just more experienced players against less experienced player. And that was the reason that I won on scenario. And he had some unlucky rolls. He couldn't kill one stalker that was contested flag. And that was the main reason that he lost. But he was playing very good, and I couldn't. It was not an easy game whatsoever. And the Negra is not good enough. I mean, this is kind of the Negra is not good enough into Grimkin. But normally I play Scar. And so I got 2-0, and I was going forward. And by third round, I got my friend from Krakow, Marcin Mycek from Polish WTC 1, and he was playing Protectorate of Mana.
National champion.
Also, yes, sir. Okay, I didn't know. I forgot. I suppose. I'm sorry. And we were playing. I used also the Negra because I wanted. He was playing 2 lists, and I knew that he would be playing 1 list. So the Resnik 2 list, that is Polish Miracle of Protectorate of Menot Science. So it's 2 times Idrians, 2 times Deliverers that make very nice pie of destruction. 21 power combined and 15 blast damage. So it's pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that pie. That's no fun.
Yeah, it's funny, especially against trolls. If you hit because they are base to base usually the champions. And you hit them because even if you don't hit them, you get blast damage 15, and they get armor 16, I think, or 18 maybe. So you are damaging them -3. And it's really cool if you can put damage on all models at the same time. So the Sanguine Bond is just as helpful as not much. Because
if you put the Hand of was it Vengeance?
He doesn't have that.
No, I mean, yeah, but with the different casters that gives you additional die and then...
Hand of Fate.
Hand of Fate, yeah.
Hand of Fate.
Would it work on the blast damage as well?
Of course.
Yeah.
And damage and attack roll.
That would be broken.
Yeah. The idea is pretty cool. So when I saw that he had so much shooting, I decided that I'm not going to play Scar. And I wanted to learn more with the Negra, so I took the Negra. And I had the first turn, I run forward. And he shot off 20 of my, or 25 of my trolls in the first round. No, it's too much because I had 21. So he killed 15 maybe, or 14, something like that. In the first round of shooting with Deliverers and Crate Idrians. So it was not looking good. I was sending some stalkers around to maybe try assassination on Resnik. Then I will come back later. But I managed to put 1 because he forgot that I have boundless charge, and he forgot that I have a berserk and overtake. And I managed to put 1 blood gorger into his infantry, and I killed, I think, 4 Idrians and 3 Deliverers and stopped at the solo that had 8 wounds, and I managed to put 5 on him. So if there wasn't a solo and only infantry, I'm sure that I would kill everybody with 1 blood gorger. So, guys, be careful with the blood gorgers. They can kill a lot of stuff. But this was the highlight of the game. Later on, I tried to do put some stalkers in and things like that. But he cleared almost everything. I got 1 stalker left and a little bit of blood gorgers. And I tried to do a desperate assassination with some spells on Resnik because he made a mistake, and he admitted that he spent too much focus on useless things and had the Resnik without any focus whatsoever. And I put into him the Crippling Grasp, so minus the speed and armor and defense, and 2 Venoms, but I didn't do much damage. I rolled shit. And then I put a Stalker on him with 4 attacks. He was full of focus, but I didn't kill him. He was left on 4 boxes. And After that game, I noticed that I have to have an answer for shooting. I forgot that shooting was existent in this game for a half a year almost, but it seems that it's coming back, and even Cryx has to talk about that.
Marcin broke the meta.
Shooting
a little bit.
Did I? No.
Not this Marcin, because he's also Marcin, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, hero.
He did meta the meta, right?
Yeah, but he was. Yep.
Interesting thing is that this almost the same list was on OTC, but it wasn't really successful there. And Marcin is using this list like for maybe 2 months now, locally, with a lot of success. And no one like expects what it does, because no one uses deliverers and he's like, okay, so I will shoot you. This is a blast 21 and blast damage is 15. Like, why? Everyone is like, you halven the power, and he's like, no, you add +1 to halven power. So
for each one.
You need to follow the CIDs, then you will not be surprised. But I like month ago, no, I think when was our last local tournament? I think 2 or 3 months ago, and I was introduced to deliverers back then. And it wasn't funny.
Yeah, they are cheap. They have tremendous range of 21 walking shooting threat range, so it's really far away. He shot at me at first down after me running, and I was surprised I didn't measure that correctly. But that made me that I have to rethink my second list, and I have to have some answer to shooting. But so I lost at the end I lost an assassination, I think, after I failed mine because the Negra was in the middle of the ground, and I got Crusader into my face. So it was 2-1, and I am on round 4. And round 4, I played against Fluffy. It's a local player. He's from Rzeszów or Krakow?
No, he's from Krakow.
Okay. He's more like... He's not top competitive, but he has very good lists usually. And he likes to play Drudges. And Drudges is always a problem. And honestly, I thought he was playing Drudges. I played Mercs before, so I know his list. He was playing Bartolo with Galleon and 2 Nomads and some stuff. In irregulars, and he was playing Drudges, and I was surprised that he didn't play into me Drudges, because even with Blood Gorges Berserking, I couldn't pass through tough. So if he passed some tough checks, they will be stopped, and then will be killed with auto hitting power 14, exploding Drudges. So I was surprised that he didn't, but he put Bartolo on the table, and I wanted, after the first loss, I decided that I wanted to play only the Negra later on, and I took the wrong choice, and I took the Negra with power 11 against Bartolo's 22 armor, and with some stalkers. And this is again the situation that if you play a lot more and somebody doesn't watch out for every detail, you can win on scenario. And this is usually how if you have bad matchup, you just focus on scenario and you won scenario. So I had to kill a lot. He was killing me like crazy. He killed all my Broad Gorges with the Galleon. He was killing me with Nomads, and I couldn't answer too much. But I managed to clear the zone several times, like 2 times, and I managed to score every time in my one zone. And I outscored him on scenario. And
with Fluffy, there's an inside joke, because he was playing Nemo 3 into my Una 2 list. So in Call of the Wild, all the Griffins. And it's well known for being like impossible matchup. And I won with him on the scenario with 1 Griffin on the table. So yeah, he never watches the scenario. He's like beer and pretzel guy.
Okay.
That's his blind spot scenario.
Yeah. He likes to kill stuff. You can bait him, just put in something in the middle of the table away from the zones, and you are going to win.
I like to think that I always watched such things, but I sometimes also lose track of scenario, and I wake up like, oh shit, my opponent is like 3 or 4 points ahead. Now I need to kill him. Now I have to find a way to assassinate his caster, because that's not going to work out.
I was hiding the Negra all the time. and I have sack pound, so he couldn't shoot me off the table even with Gober. So, but it's not a good matchup, and I have to admit it that it was just a little bit more experience than, but I took the wrong list against Fluffy. But I won at the end, and everybody thought it would be 2 rounds more. But thanks to Memphis, it was just one last round, and I played against my enemy, my favorite super enemy, Paweł Blady Blados from. Let's not call it Warsaw, from Legionowo. And he was playing this time because when we play together, surprisingly, either he or me wins. That's amazing. But last 2 times, incredible. Last 2 times I won. So I thought it was maybe my luck ran out, and he doesn't have luck with me. So maybe my luck ran out, and I played my Scar, because I didn't want to give him any easy way. And he was playing Morvana tour that is pretty okay into Scar, because I don't have remove from play except spell that I don't use. And I have to kill his army almost twice. He had turns because he loves turns. He had blood trackers that did some amazing things during the game. And some, I think, Getorix, and that is a partner of Morvana. He admitted that. So the Getorix partner of Morvana and I think the one that gives Primal. What is it? Gorax, right?
Yeah.
Tomasz? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's Gorax, Primal.
Because after the loss and my missile SOS, I knew that I'm not playing for anything, so I just ran forward because I won the roll-up, I think. Yeah, I won. And I ran forward, not measuring anything, and he shot off the table with blood trackers. Shot off my battle engine out of the table on the first round. I have to remind you that it is minus 11 weapon master shots. So with Head of Fate, they have rerolls because of Morvana. They have rerolls, right?
Yeah.
So
they do.
He had some really amazing rolls, and he managed to minus 11, so he should do to me 0 damage. But he managed to shut off the battle engine out of the table. Anyway, so it was my mistake. I lost battle engine, but it seems that it was not so important. We played back and forth. I killed a lot of turn. He couldn't kill me much because he couldn't hit some stalkers and even some Banes, because he had, like always, bad rolls against me. But at the end, I made some mistakes, and he had some amazing rolls at the last 2 turns, I think, when he was electrocuting my Banes, and I was not passing any tough checks whatsoever, and he was just killing them with electro leaps from the shamans. And he managed to win on scenario again 9-8, and I had a 5-1, I think, at one time. But then I just slipped the game, and I lost because I was playing stupid. So I lost against Bloody. And at the end, it was not very successful to me. I took 17th because of, I had shittest sauce out of the guys with 3 wins. because sauce is the thing. And you have to remember about that, right?
Yeah, losing to Bloody might be a good investment, because it means that next game is going to be yours.
Yeah, honestly, after the loss against Herudayo, I was not caring too much, so I thought, I believe in karma. So I think that it's worth it sometimes to, you don't have to win everything, right, Tomasz? You don't have to win everything. So sometimes losing to the proper opponent is more important than winning it, especially if you are not playing for the first place, or even if you are playing for the first place.
Yeah, there was So before we go to Tomasz, there was a discussion about SOS, and there was quite a few people talking about it. And because people
from
were
all
saying,
over the world, I would say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
USA and Sweden.
Yeah, I wasn't aggressive. I was just, I was just trying to point that SOS maybe is not the best solution, especially if you are a finalist, you have won 5 times, and then you lose in the final because one has to lose, one has to win, and you go to 4th place. In my opinion was, whatever, even if SOS stays, that the two finalists, they should always be the first and the second, because
Yeah.
they went through the 5 games undefeated or 6, and then in the final game they were only defeated. So that's the final, and they should be first and second. But there was a counter arguments that there might be another 5-0 player who won against similar or the same opponents, but just in different order. The thing that why I'm bringing this up now, because my argument is there is a huge difference in approach to the game if you lost one game already and you don't fight for the win. You don't care so much. You are not so you're not so concentrated. You're a bit more chilled out. Of course you want to win another game, but if something happens, you just don't care.
Yeah,
so much.
but it might be not everyone's attitude because I'm going to bring this out in my games.
Yeah, but if you fight, let's say you lost the first or second game of the tournament.
Yeah.
And you compared to you are undefeated. How does your approach end? How does your approach change? Because mine, I'm more chilled out. Rafal is the same as he said just. And
yeah,
what's yours?
I also don't care. I just want to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But I know guys that are still focused on the game and they still have hopes to be.
Yeah, exactly. But then if you look in a spread of 5 games or 6 games, this means that the person this person who lost already one game is facing another people who lost at least one game already. This means some of them will have more chilled approach. This means that he has kind of easier games a bit, because the person who is undefeated until the end, each game is tense and even more tenser because both players are concentrated. They want to pass another undefeated level up. So I just wanted to think that.
Yeah, he thought about that.
Yeah, I thought about that. So maybe it's.
Yeah, I support that. I think it should be this way. That finals is finals, and you should cut the top, like top 4 or top 8 or whatever. Top is the top, and it should be like this. But
the solution, the easiest solution that is done in Europe and in States is that you have eliminations tournaments, and then there is a final tournament. When you have a convention style,
no, it's only possible in convention, right?
Yeah, but it's possible. I mean, we have in Poland tournaments that are more standard masters, so just one tournament and all. But it seems that more and more people are liking to have a convention style tournament, right? So maybe it's a way to think about that. And the second thing is that, and because we play the other game, and we know from the other game that it's really possible to plan. If you don't want to be the first one, you can execute the plan to get into the top 3, playing easier games than before if you don't just use standard Swiss system, right?
Yeah.
You can calculate everything because it has been done. I have seen this many times also at WTC, that you can plan a lot if you know every turn how it will influence your games. And with SOS, it's more random and
But there are different systems that are also basing on Swiss that are more fair. I didn't check them. But Trevor Christensen apparently has, and he had some pointers there. But let's don't go into that. And
maybe some other time.
Maybe some other time. Yeah. I just wanted to have a small sidetrack. So Tomasz, your games.
All right. So do you want me to talk about my lists first, or should I go straight into?
No.
So with every tournament, I want to change at least one of my lists because, I don't want to be predictable.
Yeah, JVM does that as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes he changes both.
Yeah. So if I could change both, I probably would, but it's hard to me to find a good pair other than what I was using and to actually test it out. And before this Masters, I had almost little to no practice. I couldn't find anyone to play with me. Like usually, I find someone to play a game a day before the Masters. to get a vibe and to remind myself every rules and tricks and all this stuff. So in previous Masters in Pruszków, I was facing a guy called Camo. He was using Bradigus. And when I faced him, I looked at the table, across the table, and I was like, I'm screwed. Like, this list feels so strong, but I realized it only when I saw it across the table, when it was my opponent. So I wanted to play him for a long time, but I felt like he needs a lot of practice because his feet and putting your minis before the feet, the turn before, watching all the difficult terrain for your push and everything is just hard. And I was talking about it during the ATC, I believe, that he was very popular there, but I was sure that he won't be successful because people need time to practice games with him. So at the time I felt like I'm confident I could use him because I had some games with him before. So I wanted to play him. I didn't want to play Una because like everyone expects Una now and everyone has to have answer for high defense. So that was my first choice. And Kruger, so Marcin Herudayo was the reason I took Kruger because I was playing with him before the tournament and was trying my secret tech new list that I will not talk about because I will probably use it in the future. So I was playing with him and I won the game. But after the game, he told me that his second list is actually secretly tagged into mine, and that it's like 90%.
A lot of secrets.
Yeah. So I figured Kruger is does pretty much the same thing that the second list did, and he's not vulnerable to assassination like the other one was. So it was, I thought like, okay, so if I have a better game into one of the best Polish players, I'll take it and I will just take Kruger again. And before the tournament, I printed the list of every attendee and I've wrote what I expect them to use. I was wrong many times, but I was trying to put if I prefer Kruger or the other secret list into this opponent, and actually it was 60% for Kruger. So I figured, yeah, he will be good there. So my first round was against a guy that's a WTC player, Melfist, that visited me a day before the tournament, so we could have some practice. And I've played my Bradigus into his Slayer spam, so all the Slayers, I believe it was 9. And I knew the matchup, and I knew this favors Bradigus. So we played it out, I won the game, and the next day, like, it paired us in the first round. So, so before the game he told me, so that's obvious. I'm not going to use Slayer spam again. I'm going to take my Scar list. So you probably take Kruger and let's have fun. And I was like, to be honest, I would prefer my Bradigus as well. And if you didn't tell me what you are going to use, I would take Bradigus just to be safe from those Slayer spam. And I have to tell, like, Bradigus is fucking sweet into Scar 1. Like, he's great. So it was one of the reasons I decided on Bradigus was actually that we agreed with Rafal. We are going to meet in finals and we are going to have the revenge. So I told you this in the previous episode, I believe. So I figured like Bradigus has a fair game into Scar and
maybe.
Yeah, he's pretty sweet.
So Rafal broke the agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. But I cannot blame you, Rafal, because
No, I had shitty list. I mean, I had one shitty list that was not prepared for this tournament.
yeah,
But that's life.
Yeah, and I really committed to it. Like, I really wanted to go to the top this time. Like, tried to stay focused and tried to win my games. So the first game with Scar was pretty quick, actually. I won the roll. I let my opponent decide which side he wanted to take. We deployed. I moved forward, and he looked at the table and said, like, "I'm screwed." and I was like, "Yep, you kinda are." So he used his feet, and on Scar 1 feet turn, he took out one mannequin. Like, really, that was his alpha. So before his feet turn, he said, like, maybe I will just try assassination. And after the feat, he said, like, yeah, I should just go for an assassination when I could. So I offered him, like, just go for it. Like, I will take my fury off and try it out. Like, you still need, like, some crazy rolls, and if you manage to do it, it will be like, like, almost impossible. So try it out, so you don't feel bad about the game. So he tried it out. It didn't work out, and that was the game. We just, like, I just killed his stuff. He killed, like, some more mannequins, and we scored some points just to have some CP for tiebreakers later on. And the funny thing is that this is what I was talking about, that not everyone has the same approach if they lose a game. So Melfist was very enthusiastic that he said, like, so you're going to give me a lot of sauce. I believe in you, and I hope we are going to be both in the top. And after every game, he come to my table and was like, so asking about my games and saying that about his games, and it actually worked out. I thought it's like a joke when he said, like, he wants to be in the top, and he actually was in the second place. So yeah. So some people don't lose motivation when they lose round 1, and it pays off.
It's not only motivation, because I have plenty of motivation. It's just, if I'm winning, then I'm winning. If I don't, SOS is something you cannot plan.
Yes.
Okay, he was coming to you and asking, but this is all he can do. He actually cannot influence by his games in any way his position anymore. It's
that's true. Right? That's true. But for example, I have a saying that I'm first or last. Yeah. If I'm not going to be the first in the tournament, I just don't care anymore about the result. Usually. So it's just that he didn't lose his fighting spirit, and he still gave his best. Maybe it's because he wants to be in WTC team this year. So people that want to be in the team need to present some results, good results. So they cannot just chill out and lose their games because they want to try some stupid assassinations or crazy things that it's sure that they won't pay off. So, yeah. Anyway, my second round was against Maylock and Jaga Jaga. And we talked a bit before the game. I told my opponent that I collect minion army, and I'm really fan of Maylock, so I was really looking forward for him to use Maylock so I can see how he performs. And I didn't know much about Jaga Jaga, her performance on the table, only from your games, Marcin. So I wanted him to choose Maylock. We talked a bit before the game. I chose Bradigus because I felt he's safer into both of these lists, and he chose Maylock. I chose Bradigus, and this is one of those games that Rafal told in previous episode about going into the game with this attitude that you are going to lose. So my opponent was a really nice guy, but before the game, like he told me like 5.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
So you can continue now.
All right. So the czego kurwa miałem?
He lost his fighting spirit.
All right. So my opponent lost his fighting spirit, and he told me like a few times he's going to lose the game, just only for the reason that I win tournament and he does not.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry for the interruption, just for a second, because I told Rafal that I have watched a game of Mailog player that lost his game, and I couldn't watch that game because he made a lot of mistakes. And the first thing he said in that game was, "Oh, I'm going to lose that game." Come on,
Yeah.
Come on, people! Get some belief in yourself. I mean, I'm pessimistic, but I never lose a game before I even started.
Yeah, so it's just it's people in the first
Sometimes
Masters.
it's uphill. That's true, but
Yeah, in the first Masters, actually, I came to every game saying I'm going to lose this game because how lucky can I get? And I needed a turn that I had like a good turn that like swinged my attitude and gave me some focus and some belief in myself. So I probably don't have it anymore. Like I know that you can grind out every game or just try some tricks, assassination scenario like Rafal told before or whatever. But I understand this attitude, and I told my opponent that he shouldn't actually say things like that before the game. And I was trying to give him some advice during the game, but I felt like he didn't take them like friendly advice. Like maybe he felt like I'm trying to play him or whatever. So I stopped this and just played my game. And I focused. It was Recon 2, and I focused on the left flank, leaving my World Watchers with 21 armor in the right, so he couldn't just kill them and score the zone because they are on medium base, and his infantry is on medium base, so he cannot put too much crocodiles into my Watchers. And I focused on the left flank. I killed everything that was there. Scored the zone. Scored the flag. Scored my flag in the second round, and it was just impossible for him to win the game at this point. He tried to clear the right zone with the Watchers and with his feet, but actually he didn't kill even one of them, I believe. Like he left them on 2 or 3 boxes with all the gators trying to crack my armor. So it ended up in third or fourth round on scenario, and that was the game. Not sure how this matchup would work out if my opponent had some fighting spirit, but at least the game was it was nice and it was fun.
Yeah, I was actually trying Mailog in different circle matchups.
Yeah.
And won some, lost some. So it's not completely unplayable, but if your opponent has it figured out or thought it out how to play the game, it is an uphill battle. I would say it's probably 60% into favor of circle.
Yeah, so you're trying to say that if you go into this matchup without knowing it, yes, that circle has easier game.
Yes,
If
a circle player didn't play the matchup but has thought about the matchup versus Mid Mountain, not even the Mailog, but Mid Mountain in general,
yeah,
then Mid Mountain will have trouble. Because Mid Mountain is easy to predict how it does and what it does, and circle is not so easy. I'm not even saying about specific caster, but in general, circle has a lot
weird
of
faction with a lot of angles
tricks,
and
right?
Pathfinder, yeah.
So
Cryx.
so I was surprised. I played versus very good player from Canada, and I didn't even know what is happening on that board.
Yeah, so you played Kruger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Maylock has a good game into Kruger, like I told you before.
Yeah.
I think it's a good matchup, but
better,
probably if you face a very good Kruger player, the first game is going to be like you have no chances.
So probably Maylock shouldn't play versus heavy spam or light spam in caster with synergy in general. Especially if that out-threats him. So
yeah.
So Bradigus shouldn't be. So if the pair has Bradigus, you shouldn't probably drop Maylock unless you have a brilliant plan. Or really
yeah, but
can outplay
Jaga was out-threat as well, and there was just less stuff to kill. So
Jaga was out-threated. Didn't she have? He had heavy spam on Jaga, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he had even with Elastic, I believe he was out-threated because Bradigus has crazy long threat ranges. If the table allows him, it goes up to 16. So maybe with Overtake, you could get somewhere deeper with Jaga. But when we were discussing the matchup, actually we came up with that I have longer threat ranges. So maybe there's something I don't know about, Marcin?
Yeah, there is one caster that can out-threat you in minions. Rust not so much. I mean, Rust can do it with 1 or 2 Orbis, but not very many. But there is one caster, Arcadius, who can out-threat you.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know how it plays out, because Arcadius would need to do a very good alpha, like bug breaking, because he has those threats only once due to his feet, and then it's fair game.
So. Yeah. Bradigus is actually like asks hard question because Watchers are in advanced deployment and we have +2 to deployment bonus, so they are really close to you. And if you're first, you're obviously not going to alpha me, but you want to go as far as you can. And if you respect Watcher's threat range, you need to be 13.5 inches from them. So that's quite a lot. And if you can even just not respect Watchers, but you will get some shots into you, and we are going to second player is going to score first. So second player is never in a hurry when there are long threat ranges on both sides.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he probably was right that he was his matchup was not as good as he would like to have. As I said, I'm probably maybe not even 70-30 into favor of Bradigus, but still, don't give up at the beginning, right?
I asked my opponent, what did you play in the first round? Because in Masters, I find that people, when they get, they want to play in the second round, you usually want to play something that you played in the first round because you have some practice and it's still early in the morning. So I figured this question might help me, and it worked out. And anyway, back into my game. The third round, it's one of the most interesting games during this tournament, and one of the messier ones. So I was facing Tomasz from WTC, and it was my third game with Tomasz, and on every Masters, I'm paired with him. So like it's our tradition now, and I asked him, am I going to be able to win with him 3 times in a row? and he was playing Grimkins, so he was really confident. So that's third game that I was pretty sure I'm going to choose Bradigus because he's
I always thought that out-threated Grimkin are pretty sad, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And if you can punch really hard to crack armor even under Death Knell's aura.
Yeah, but the skill mods aren't that hard. There are 19 under the aura, so it's not like it's not 21, right? If you alpha them before they get corpses, then 19 is not something you.
Yeah, it depends on the list, because if you screen with Dreadrots, you will get your corpses, but he had no Dreadrots in the list. And I believe it's always a question for Grimkin players. Do I put Dreadrots or I max out on War Beasts? Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, Grimkins, from experience, Bradigus is really good into them, and Unatu is really good into them. Abitu is really good into them. So all those hard-hitting long threat range just are really good into Dark Menagerie. So before the game I told him like, let's just not skip this part, because I know you are going to choose Old Witch, and I'm going to choose Bradigus because he's safer into the Dreamer. And I had 2 games with him already, and I'm going to face WTC players, so I don't want to take out Kruger that I had very little practice before the event. So I took Bradigus, he took Old Witch. It was Spread the Net. So my favorite scenario that I don't like. Yeah, I like to call it because I have a lot of practice on Spread the Net, because I think this scenario is a bit stupid and a bit too much. So I had to practice it, and it's most of my wins come from this scenario because I just played it so many times.
Anyway, you mean that it's your favorite scenario that you don't like? That it's because Privateer Press made the pool, and the pool outcome was that it's favorite scenario.
Yeah. So that was really interesting and shocking to me, because I was like, we were discussing with friends like, what do you think will change in 2018 scenario rules, because 17 were like almost perfect, and everyone, me included, were like, yeah, Spread the Net is going to be changed for sure, because it's just bad.
Different people and different metas have different opinions, so maybe somewhere it is liked, or the people that were most of the people that were taking part in the pool liked it. And
who knows?
Who knows? So go on about the game.
So it was my first game into Old Witch 3, so I asked a lot of questions before the game, and I like to play against Two Tides because we have similar style, similar personality, and I knew I don't need to be stressed about doing some mistakes that obviously not very like big ones, but I don't need to be really careful, because he will let me fix things and I will let him fix things. So in the first round, like it started like he won the roll, and the first thing was he paid for the spell, but he didn't put the token, and I asked him what spells did you cast, and he didn't mention he cast Windstorm, and I was like, oh, okay. So in my turn, I was trying to shoot him, and he was like, but Windstorm, dude, and was like, there is no token of Windstorm, and you didn't say Windstorm, and I asked you what spells did you cast, and you didn't mention Windstorm, so why there's Windstorm on the table now? But he was like, yeah, I paid for it, and it's quite obvious, because he used the extended range from her skills. So I was like, yeah, fine, sure, dude. You can obviously put this Windstorm, and I'm fine with it. And it paid off because my turn was so messy. Like it was okay, but at some point he asked me if my War Beast is in a control range, and it actually was out of control range. So I asked, like, what should we do? And should I just reverse the game or put my caster in the range to be in control? And I was like, if I go there, I'm probably going to die. So we figured out that I have to put my caster in control range, and then I realized, like, I fit, but I moved like only one of my War Beasts, and it's mandatory to move all of them. And like we find out that my turn is total mess, and I did not do so many things that I had to fix everything or just give up because that everything was wrong. So I quickly fixed things, moved my stuff with fit, killed a lot of his dudes, and who actually scored, I believe, 2 points on Spread the Net, and I was the second player. And my watchers were contesting every piece of scenario. So for his army, it was almost impossible to remove all the pieces and score. So it would be grind to turn 7, and I would win on scenario, probably for sure. His both of his War Beasts were killed, so I could just do assassination, and he had no transfer targets. So he had to go for an assassination. He said he knew that from turn 1 that he's going to do it. And I was like, man, but I have 4 transfers. If you want to come to me to punch me, because his Skin and Moss had a revive, and he revived it in a range to Bradigus, so he could charge my Bradigus before he needed to cast Curse of Shadows. So I'm going to talk about it in details, but I have 4 transfers. If you want to kill me, you need to kill a guy that's before in front of my Bradigus with 2 Fury, so I will take 2 Fury more. I will have 6 transfers, and I'm 14-16, no knockdown. So I'm looking forward for you doing this assassination. And so he started with knocking out my 2 of my 3 shield guards that were around me. He put Curse of Shadows on my War Beast that was blocking a charge length. He then killed one of the guys, one of the Worldwide that were blocking the lane to Bradigus. So then he shot Bradigus with Lord Longfellow, because I believe I was damaged, and I'm character. He had additional dice and put some damage into me. I believe I shield guarded one of his shot, and then the second wasn't shield guarded. And then Skin and Bones went on my face, so no corpse token, so only power 16. It was straight dice. I used, I believe, 4 or 5 of my transfers. Then he moved his Holomans to shot me, and that was the first mistake he did during this assassination. That he couldn't do a combined range attack to melee. And before he put blind on me, so he needed to do a single shot into me. He did, I believe it was 1 damage or maybe nothing. I don't remember. And then he killed his cask imps, so they blowed up, and he rolled it. The rule says it's 2d6 plus 3 or something like this. He chose the distance. He rolled exactly to be in a range to blow into Bradigus, and then he deviated into me, used all my transfers, and I was left with one box and on fire. So going into my turn, it was if I roll 1 or 2, I'm going to win the game because Old Witch is in the middle of the table next to my Guardian, and if I roll 3 to 6, I'm going to lose the game. So I rolled 3, and he damaged me with fire. I lost the game, but then something was felt not right with Cask's Imp's explosion. I felt like deviation that's going always into my direction feels like there's no rule in War Machine that's worded this way. So I checked in the war room, and we figured out that Tutates was wrong with this rule. It's written it's in such a weird way that it's easy to misinterpret it. So he had to roll for deviation or to the direction of Cask's Imp's explosion. So he needed to roll twice in direction of Bradigus or close one, so the AO area of effect can damage me. And so he rolled it, and one of those 2 blasts went into the wrong direction. So I had still my transfer to transfer the fire damage.
Yeah.
And
so a lot of takebacks.
Yeah, a lot. It was total mess. But the game was so fun, and so many people were watching it around the table. Especially his assassination was a masterpiece. It was, how do you assassinate a caster that's behind the wall with 4 transfer and can get another 2, and it's no knockdown, and it felt impossible, and he managed to do it. Like, if I didn't read the card for Cask Imp, or he interpreted it right, some chances were like maybe 10% less to do it. But he did a mistake with Holomans. So if he didn't do it, he might succeed even without those Cask Imps. So a masterpiece and great game. Like, we were talking about this game whole evening, and I believe the game was streamed and you could watch it on the War Room channel.
Rafal uploaded the games from there, so if it was there and nothing went wrong, it should be on.
Yeah, but I believe something went wrong when my feed went wrong because the video stopped. And
sometimes technical issues just happen.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm sorry, but we've got like 5 more minutes. So maybe we skip to the final?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we've been talking for quite long. We had technical difficulties, of course, during the cast as well. So sorry for that.
So fourth game, I will talk about it quick. It was against Herdio, and we played this game before the tournament as well, and I won it. So I had practice into his list, and he had little practice into mine.
So
I took
one
Kruger
versus Reznik?
Yeah, one versus Reznik with Kruger. So yeah, and it was my first game in this tournament with Kruger, so I felt confident going into finals with Kruger. And the finals was interesting because when I was playing with Tutajet, my opponent from finals was playing some Swedish guy that had exact same carbon copy of my list, like exact the same list. So he was playing Testament into Kruger, and my opponent after the game told me that it was a really good matchup, but if he can do something different, because he lost, he said that if he played quicker, he would win the game. So going into finals against the guy that had the same question. I mean, the pairing, what to choose, and he chose Testament, and I knew he's going to do it again because he won. So I was like, I'm going to choose Kruger because he told the Swedish guy told me it's a good matchup, and I feel like it is. And I will just try to be quick with my game. So so we started playing. He chose Testament, and in my first round, I did a mistake, and I did not put Kruger behind line of sight blocker. So my opponent told me like, okay, I'm going to go for an assassination. It was his second turn, and I was like, all right, that's going to be quick finals. And I encouraged him actually to do it, because if he put proxy base of his caster in the middle of the table. So I figured out like, if he do not manage to do it, I will just kill his caster in retaliation. And he said it's just a bit above average dice, so it's it's 50-50 or 60-40. I can take it. So he went for an assassination, but he actually used his Warjack that had Arknote to cast some spells into Kruger, but he missed the first nuke. So he figured, all right, it's not average anymore, so I'm going to resign from my plan. But he left his jack in the middle of the table, and the second one was in the range of Waldward. And I was like, and had upkeep on it, and I was like, why you left Jack with an upkeep in the range of Waldward? And he said like, in the previous game I did the same thing, and Waldward did like nothing, like 2 damage. So I was like, all right, let's see how my Waldward do. And I rolled like crazy, like festivals of 6s, and I left this Jack with maybe 5 boxes. That battle engine easily finished, and I killed the other Jack that was an Arknote with my Megalith. So in the second turn, I was pretty sure I'm going to win the game. And looking at my opponent, he thought the same thing. But I was so focused on killing his Warjacks that I forgot to put something in his zone for contest. And we were 1-1, and because I did not put anything for contesting, with playing into Testament, it's really, really hard to score after the second turn. So he went up on 1 point during the game. We went to 6th or 7th round, and I couldn't clear any zone to score a point, and I had like 4 minutes left on the clock. But he did not kill like any of my stuff. So so I had to score 1 point anywhere, or just killed his caster. And his caster was left in the range of many of my things. So I figured, all right, I'm going to go for an assassination, and I managed to do it. It was with Kruger's gun and Waldward after 3 strikes. To support if I fail. So
satisfying, right?
Sorry?
So satisfying to kill a caster with 4 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, no, 4 minutes was when I started my turn. I finished him with 2 minutes on the clock.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I would win this other way, because 2 minutes to clear, 4 minutes to clear a zone. Yeah, it's difficult, and I'm really happy about this game, because my opponent was really classy, and the game really felt like finals, because there were very little mistakes, and there were very little like everything was measured out really well, and there was no arguing, conflict during the game. It was very clean. Every move was visible. Everything was talked out, and it felt really like a very smooth game. So
I like those kinds of games. All right, Tomasz, congratulations on the win. Now you have 7 points. You need 3 more and you can go to States.
No, I have 10 points.
You have 10 points already?
Yeah, I'm qualified for
Okay, so now just get visa and you can go.
Working on it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's cool. All right. Sorry, but now I have to wrap up. Thanks for joining and thanks for listening, and we'll hear you probably in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Boxcars. I hope you liked it. See you soon.